Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Guile treatment. We are doing some post-nat stuff. We have the latest singles champion, Barrett Bryant. Barrett, now, I know when we had Tam on last, I called him the dean of UFSU. So what would you say your position is at the university?
I believe I can call myself maybe the first alumni of UFS University. I have graduated, and I have first attained my championship character card. So
you hear that? He's gone UFSU. He's out in the world. He doesn't need you anymore. He's better than you.
I might be going back for graduate school, but
okay.
That might be. I'm going to go get my master's now.
You just gotta give back, right?
Are they
gonna call you? They're gonna be like, Barrett, hey man, how's life going? And if you get a chance, we could really use some financial support.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You're gonna start being those boosters, and then you're gonna have like your name on like the auditorium or the gymnasium. Yeah.
But this is the UFSU library, donated by our most successful alum, Barrett Bryant.
Absolutely. We actually talked about it on the car ride home. It was one of those things where, like, I actually started playing this game, and I didn't start playing this game to earn cardboard. I started playing to go play in PTCs because I was more driven by the plane ticket vouchers that I could go on vacation somewhere. Like, that sounded way cooler to me. But instead, now that I won this, and I'm the first person in Omaha to own a character card.
Yeah.
I believe that's what I was told, at least. I know UFSU, Chris Nixon's and Richard's team and Dylan's team, they won Worlds teams just this past coming up. So now we have cardboard back to back. But I guess the first Omaha character card, it was one of those things where we were talking about the ride home if I wanted to step up and become like a coach position. Because it was a long talk, so I won't go full in depth to it. But it was something that we threw around, or if it was like, hey, now that you have cardboard, do we get you like a new jersey and like upgrade you to like a new color shirt, or get
you gotta increase the tier level. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like it was one of those things. But we threw around the idea of me upgrading to like more of a coach figure. Because I honestly, like, it was kind of that point too. I'm gonna always try my best competitively in this game, specifically also in teams. Like, I tried really hard this year, and I really want to help and bring other people along with the ride. So I'm gonna always do that. But for singles, I definitely can see myself doing more so of like my job is now more so to prepare everybody else for singles and not so much myself.
I mean, now you mentioned right when you sort of started playing, that wasn't that long ago, right? It was really, I guess, I know you played in Nationals last year.
That was my first competitive event for UFS.
Okay, so you hadn't even played in any PTCs before that?
No, my first event was MCS. Yep. The first MCS event was held and sponsored by Legendary Wolf. They came over. I drove over. It was a whole different format, though, so like I don't really count it as the same kind of idea, but that was my first time meeting everybody. I met like Phil Birch and people like that. I met Chris Smith, obviously. So I got to introduce myself, and I would have topped if I didn't throw the game against JJ in the last round of MCS. So like even then, I always felt like I was still kind of getting the game. I was dominating locally back in Omaha. So
you played something else, right? I can't remember what it was. Didn't you play? You had some other game that you were sort of into competitively at that point. Was it?
Vice Shorts is the big one that I play.
I didn't know if it was Weiss or whatever the one is where you like tap stuff to get like the orbs. I don't remember. It was like Reflect Refrain. Did you play that one?
I have no idea what that is. So
and no, I don't. Yeah. I can't remember the name at all.
Yeah, I was playing Vice Shorts competitively because I wanted to win their prize. If you won a regional, you got a fully sponsored trip to Japan.
Oh, cool.
And that's what I was playing for. And that's why when I was told about the PTC prize support, I was like, I could play 2 games with my friends and get the same prize, essentially. I was like, yeah, let's do that. So I started playing this game. Mason was my coach, Mason Johnson. He's very good. He's won multiple PTCs. I came home and I won the whole thing. And the first thing he messaged JJ was like, "Oh shit, dude, he beat me to it." And then I just saw him yesterday, and he gave me a big hug and congratulations. And now he's really driven to play this game again.
Nice.
Because he was kind of taking a break. Because I've shown him up and kind of stuff like that. And he's super hyped for Soul Calibur. So like,
good. Yeah.
Cool.
Before we get into like the worlds, I mean the national, like you went nationals. You top 4 last year, correct?
I got 4th place because J-Ray couldn't put up in finals.
Yeah.
So I got 4th place. I lost to J-Ray in top 4.
And then
you beat Broberg with Mega Man 2, right?
Yes.
Mega Man 2.
That's where the meme came from. Yeah.
My kryptonite.
I was gonna say because that was what I remembered. I was pretty sure that I had first met you at the Rockford PTC after that. Because I'd put up like the little picture of like Kevin all like with like the Kryptonite Mega Man. And I remember because you came up to me, you're like, "Hey man, I love that thing," and I'm like, "I don't know who this is." I was like, "Have I met this person? Did I forget them?" I was so confused. You're like, "Oh, don't worry, you haven't met me. I'm Barrett." And I was like, "Good."
I only came up to you because there were so many other really well-known UFS players talking to you when you had like walked in the door or something like that. I'm like, am I supposed to know who this is? And Mason thought like, that's Rob. He's the guy that made that Mega Man meme for you. I was like, oh, sick. And he's also made Guile face and stuff. Or not Guile,
Keith,
the Geef ones. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go say hi.
And then
that's what that was.
From there, fast forward to Worlds, you also came in 4th or 3rd?
I came in third because I lost to Tim Keefe in top 4. And Tim Keefe thought he was actually going to lose that match. And I feel like I only lost that match because there were 2 turns across both of the games that I lost that I drew all gray.
Sure.
And I believe that's how I felt. That was the only reason I lost. I don't think I misplayed.
That's UFS, man.
Yeah, you're right.
That is UFS.
And that's why I was not upset by my Worlds performance. My deck ran the way it was supposed to, and in that one match it didn't. And so that was just one of those things. And I brought a really interesting deck too. It was
you played Earth deck. Jet, right?
I played Jet. It was all Earth Jet, but all of my attacks had fire. So we off-symboled every single Punch and Judy.
Yeah.
So like people said it was really interesting. It was a cool deck. And I had played Punch and Judy in the Las Vegas PTC that year prior, where I got 3rd again.
Sure.
So.
And you were what? You started that one on Dulcime, right?
Correct. I sandbagged into Jet. I played Dulcime because JJ and I were playing the same deck. I sided my stretch kicks into ISSB grapples.
Gotcha.
Nice. So prepping for Nats, let's go through that. What was your mindset going into this past Nats, knowing that you've had a top 4 Nats, a top 3 at Worlds, multiple couple PTC tops, and a lot of success in a short, matter of time. I know like the goal was Teams Cardboard for Rookie of the Year. I know that was your big goal. Yeah. So why don't you lead us up into, you don't have to like give us a giant, you don't have to spill your heart out, but you can like give us the gist and stuff. Yeah. If you want to talk about how you prepped for this coming Nats.
Yeah, absolutely. So when Mortal Kombat first came out, it was like, all right, we have this amount of time till Worlds or till Nats comes up. I want to make an equal, if not better, showing than I did at last year's Nats. At last year's Nats, JJ, Mason, and I made top 8 in teams, and then Mason and I made top 4 again for singles. And so I was like, okay, well, Mason can't come this year. First, we need to find a replacement for him for our team, and we need to make sure that we can bring the best decks that we can. JJ is usually the mastermind behind our team's decks, usually in charge of making them all. But when Mortal Kombat first came out, I tried out Katana. I thought Katana, just because she had the good symbol as well as death and evil, this was I could play this deck under good and build a mid-rangey kind of control deck that I've always been looking for. That deck kind of fell through because the evil symbol was just stronger. So I then played her under evil, and I thought the deck was good, but I was too afraid to play bad checks. I wouldn't play Copy Samba. I wouldn't play Princess Perry, and I think I really underestimated those cards. So I threw that deck away, and I kind of then was playing Raiden locally. I was playing a lot of Raiden, and I was like, man, I can play the order symbol again. It feels very good under this character. And Tyler, part of UFSU, was struggling to make a deck that was kind of his own identity. And I said, hey, man, he was trying out Johnny Cage and wasn't having a lot of success with it. I was like, hey, man, what do you think about Cassie? Do you want me to build you a Cassie deck? Because I'm about to try and build a new Guile deck because I really like Guile. And Guile with Cassie support sounds really good to me. And he's all like, yeah, if you want to build a Cassie deck for me, that'd be really cool. I was like, sick. Let me build this Cassie deck for you. It started out under good. So it's about 4 months back when the set first came out, 4 months ago. I built her under good. and I looked at the deck, and I'm like, man, progressive difficulty fucking blows. And we only have Sins and Morals. You don't have Season Guide in that deck either. And so it's like, man, I'm not getting a lot of stats under the symbol. I get a way better foundations, but I'm sacrificing being able to play a bunch of attacks in one turn. Mm-hmm. And so like, Tyler's not going to like this deck. I don't like this deck. Guile's just better under this symbol. And so like, why would you? So then I played it under all, brought out the JJ special, put 4 Not Over Yes in the deck, put some Curse Splats in, and I basically sat on the deck that I played for those 4 months, and I started playtesting it, helping it out, prepping it for Tyler to play, and then Tyler had then found a separate deck to start playing. And so, like, but I was dominating everybody with this deck locally. It was the only deck that we had that could beat JJ's Quan Chi deck that he had built, and none of us could beat that deck. I didn't lose any matches to it. I was the only deck that could handle it. I could beat the Evil Desperation matchup very well. Liu Kang was really easy for me. Like, I was having the most success, but I don't go to locals. Like, you would never have seen this deck at a Legendary Wolf local. You never would have seen it at a Premier Store event, because I never went to them. So I was just sitting here kind of hiding with this deck, and I wasn't showing anybody. I was just talking about it on UFSU. And then eventually, while we got Byron on our team for teams, and JJ was building all of our decks. We were going to bring the Quan Chi and a Liu Kang deck, and then whatever I was going to play. And my deck was having such success that JJ was just like, look, man, I just want you to play this Cassie deck. You've been playing it very well. You've been playing it for so long. You're just going to be the deck that can beat ass, and you don't lose to Fatality Mill. Or like, you don't lose to all of your attacks getting removed. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, cool. I'll just get better with this deck. But I still have a Raiden deck, and I also had Jet, and I also had an Eda 9 deck that I had prepped in my repertoire to bring in case I needed to bring a new deck. As we got closer to the event, I was feeling more and more confident with Cassie. Jet had been handed off to Byron because Quan Chi got banned, and thus JJ was going to play Liu Kang. And so when I was considering my singles decks, I basically only had Cassie, Eda 9, and Raiden. I then reevaluated on what I thought was going to be in singles. If Fatality Mill existed, Eda 9 was a no-go. Loses really hard to that card. And so my choices then were Raiden and Cassie, essentially. And I told myself, depending on how teams went, I would play her or I would play Raiden. We went to the event. We thought we were really prepared. We made top 8 in teams, and then on that same day, they made us play 2 more rounds of tops and teams. So then we won our round in top 8, and then we also won our round in top 4, having to beat the Legendary Wolf team. And so we were in finals for team. And at that night, we went to go get food, even though I know Phil Birch and Ben Shoemaker wanted us to play that night at like 11. I was like, fuck that, I'm going to bed. At that point, I decided, well, I guess it's good enough for singles. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not even going to think about Raiden anymore. I'm just going to play Cassie tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Went to bed, woke up, went to singles. I started the day 4-0. I threw really hard in round 5. Like, it was bad. It was so bad. It was the worst throw I think I've ever thrown in this entire game.
Was that the one where you left him at 1?
Yeah, because I said speed instead of damage. Yeah, because I thought he was at 6, not 8. So, yeah, it was super bad. Got really tilted to that. Went to my next round, played Keenan Meadows, got smashed. I was like, I'm not gonna top because I threw that round. Because that would have been my 5th win. I was already 2 wins ahead of my closest diversity. Yeah. Then I just lost 2 in a row, and they won their last 2. Barry Everson was my closest one. I was like, oh shit, I'm the same record as my diversity. And then I got paired into James the last round. And so, like, that was more relaxing. I got to kind of wind down a little bit. He was ready to scoop to me, and he was going to scoop to me no matter what, which was, I know, integrity of the results. I was like, hey, man, play me anyway, because if I have to play against a Jackie and Tops, I need this. Because he was playing Jackie Briggs. We played it anyway. Like, we didn't even sign the sheet. We played it out. I did beat him, so the integrity results are still there. And then it was just on tiebreakers because Corey scooped to his opponent. There's my integrity result again. fucking, they were gonna tie, and he's all like, "Happy birthday, Barry," and scooped him. It was my fucking birthday. No, it was fine. Like, I totally understood because Garrett already made tops, so Corey scooped. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I won the tiebreakers, made tops. We didn't play any of tops that day. I went home. Or I went to the apartment or whatever hotel. And I told myself, honestly, I don't give a shit about singles. I didn't. I didn't give any care. I made tops. That was my goal. I made tops. I cared more about doing everything I could for my team tomorrow to win cardboard.
Yeah.
That's what I cared about. So I didn't fall asleep till like 3 o'clock. I took like an hour-long shower, preparing myself that we had to play against Phil Birch, Dave Wagner, and Ben Shoemaker. We thought about our pairings if we won the die roll, and we told ourselves we felt very confident and we were just going to go with it. Woke up feeling like garbage. Thought I was going to throw up. I think it was because I didn't eat enough before. It might have been the pizza we had the night before.
Yeah, probably.
I think it was the pizza.
Yeah.
I woke up and I tried to get some food in my stomach. I had a little thing of Fruit Loops, and like I ripped off a piece of a bagel and just ate that, and the rest of it sat there for the entire day. Didn't touch it. And then we won the die roll against Phil Birch's team for teams, and we said, all right, we're putting Jet into Vega. That's it. Because Vega was going to fuck up my deck, and we weren't sure if we felt confident putting Liu Kang against the Vega deck, because it can also screw it up with progressive difficulty later on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, fading them back is really bad for him sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but then we were just like, all right, then that means they have Sniper Joe and Liu Kang. My deck can beat Liu Kang, and I thought my deck had a very good matchup out of any of ours versus the Sniper Joe deck. They then paired the mirror match for Liu Kang versus Liu Kang, and then I had to play Sniper Joe. Byron ended up losing to Vega. We anticipated that. We just knew that he had the better matchup. And then JJ won the mirror, which he had done the entire event. He had the Liu Kang mirror 6 out of the 8 rounds that we played, including tops.
I know when we played, we paired our Liu Kang into Liu Kang because we were both just like, well, I don't really feel like playing Liu Kang. You're playing Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Just playing Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Yep. So and that's actually how we got most of them. We never paired the mirror into the mirror, but we knew our opponents would, because they just saw like, oh well, we have a better player, and JJ played it perfectly all day.
I don't know. I don't know how many teams are like going, oh well, our guy's better than Big Johnson.
But it was more so like if you didn't pair the mirror right, then like your Liu Kang on your team was supposed to be your free win. And so if you took away your opponent's free win, and then they also took away yours, and you let it just be a skill matchup, then you have to play real UFS for the rest of your team members.
Yeah.
Honestly, we kind of fucked up for teams as well. We were not prepared for the amount of fatality mill decks, because we played against your team, Rob, and we drew with y'all, and then we played against a team right after y'all and drew with another one, and it was it was the Johnny Cage fatality deck.
I know when I was playing, like, because I what was I gonna like? Because we obviously were gonna play like a Quan Chi, and then he got banned, so we sort of like figured we'd have a Liu Kang. I think Will was originally going to play Vega, and like honestly, the Scott and I were kind of up in the air. And I think I basically said to Will, I was like, look, like you can play Vega if you want. I was like, basically, for teams versus singles, I was like, if you want to play the same deck, there's basically like 2 things to consider. One is, do you want to get some extra reps against like good decks, good players, or like basically weigh that against
people
like against people are going to see this deck before singles. So I was like, those are basically the 2 things that you want to consider. And he was like, well, like, I feel fine about this deck. He's like, so I'll just play, like, the Liu Kang. And we're like, that's fine. Like, no big deal. Scott will play. I think he played Jet. And, and they were just like, oh, you should just play, like, that Anakaris deck. Like, that thing's pretty good. And, like, I mean, and the funny thing, too, is, like, I think even you said, you're like, well, I know this deck. I didn't really test against it. And that was pretty much a bunch of people said that. Was just like,
yeah, like we didn't
I know
test
this deck
against
exists,
it,
but I still never played against it. And I guess that kind of makes sense because I don't think a lot of people actually want to play it. So in order to get like tests against it, you have to actually like find someone.
It was more so that like we thought based off of your competition that you had to play against at that PTC, there weren't exactly, and we saw like what you were matched up against, and so we went through like, okay, based off of what Rob had to play during that PTC, how many decks did he play against that were just trying to beat his ass on turn 2? And in Omaha, that's what we were playing. We were playing decks that can beat ass on turn 2, and so if we were just like, well, if you think that your deck that you're playing, so Cassie for us, it was like Tam Scorpion deck. Like if you can just deal 27-ish damage on turn 2, like 26, whatever it is, then you can do it, right? And that's kind of what we were going for. And if you could potentially do the rest of it on turn 3, then you were good. And so like my deck can do that. We tested it against a version of that deck, but with a different character, which obviously is drastically different. And even then, it was just like when I did play against you, Rob. In the last game, the only reason we tied was because you didn't have enough turns. But at the same time, I felt the only reason I lost was because you built that one extra new shipmates, and so I had to sculpt for 2 more turns, and so it was like shit. And so like it was just about like what cards we saw. Kind of thing.
I know. Like when you had out 2, what was it? The 2 Shadow Inheritance. I was like, man, that card is a problem.
Yeah.
And then you got like a 3rd one, and I was like, this is more of a problem.
Right.
And then you had all 4, and I was like, forget milling this guy. Like all I need to do at this point is like not die.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally like it was just sort of like if the mill happens, it happens. Like cause you and I drew 0-0.
Yeah.
We didn't even finish a game. Like that was definitely basically like, especially after that 4th one came down, I was just like, this is basically like plus, 20 or something to my block mod at any given point. I was like, so I just need to go hard on like resets, damage reduction, like, I just need to do everything I can that he never has one attack that's going to do lethal damage because I won't be able to block it.
Right. And so and so that was the problem is in like, okay, and then at that point I was like, I have to see enough gas in one turn to go through all of your resets and the times you can ready them. And I was always like 1 attack short, or I was you had 1 more piece of DR, so that I had to choose damage over some other stat, which mattered. And so, like, it was this constant, like, of, like, man, I'm always off by fucking 2, or I'm off by fucking 1. And it was just, like, does that mean I still go for it? And I just, like, wait?
Like, honestly, like, I was a little, like, I was like, that's the thing is, obviously, not having played it, like, there might have been some value in just, like, but, like, even some of those, like, I guess Glow Kick's pretty big, but a lot of the things like, Akimbo is like base 3. Nutcracker's base 4. So even if those get reset, like, if you just come in with that, it's like I can gain 1 and then I'll gain a couple more like the next turn. So it kind of like just cancels it out. Because that was the thing is like, obviously if I go to block any of them and you just go, I'll hit all 4. Like that attack's going to hit. I'm not going to commit for it. And then you could just like build a foundation and do it again next turn.
Yeah, and like that was pretty much it. It was like, man, if I had like 1 more attack, if you hadn't built the new shipmates, I think it was like on turn 5 or something like that. I was like, man, that 1 card is the reason I can't kill him this turn. I was like, fuck, because
you can use it so good.
Because you can use it twice, and so I was like, fuck. And so that's why I put you to 2, and then time was called, and I was like, well, I fucking tried. So, like,
you kind of had, like, I had to check a 5, and I did, but,
like, I mean, fucking, what other attack were you going to check?
I run 4 checks. I could just check
true.
Yeah. So, it was just, so, like, that's why I really enjoyed it. I was like, man, this was really good in case I have to play against this in singles tomorrow. But fucking nobody played it in singles.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know there were some people that were playing it in teams too, and I would imagine that they had like a similar experience to me, which is like, I still think that deck is fine. It's more just when you sit down, you're basically just saying like, hey,
we're playing 1 game.
I'm not going to attack you. Like I'm never going to deal damage to you. Like, I'm going to sit here and be a punching bag for like 60 minutes. And if you get me, good. If you don't, I'm going to mill you. Or maybe not if, if like it doesn't, if I don't hit like the right pieces fast enough. But
now Barrett, like we talked earlier on the Guile treatment on the Anacaris episode about how you beat that deck is you just dumpster it as much as you can on 2 and finish it up on 3. I know Cassie can output them. Can she do his entire life total on 2 if you see the correct cards?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest change I would say about playing Cassie and trying to do it on turn 2 is like, if you build 4 foundations, you can do it.
Okay.
So like if you build 4, you can do it. Because essentially that means you can be really greedy and play out every foundation in your hand, play an attack on a 4, and then check a 3 on it and commit all of your foundations but 1, and then Cassie readies a few of them. If you have Carrying the Legacies, you ready some more. So like that's why you need like 4 is the golden ticket if you want to do it on turn 2.
Okay.
You can cheat that system by like seeing Not Over Yet, seeing Curse Splats. So like you can cheat that number a little bit. But then the biggest problem is, and which was the problem I had against Rob, was I have too many attacks in my hand. And if you have all orange, Cassie blows. Like if you don't have 10, 12 foundations out on the board, all attacks are garbage because you're not allowed to play all of them. And you're not allowed to buff them up like at all. And so like that's just one of those shitty feelings. Like it happened to me in Tops too. I was like, why am I seeing all these fucking attacks? It happened to me against Sniper Joe in game 1 of Teams Finals. I felt like I couldn't kill him because I saw only orange, which is so weird to hear that.
Yeah.
But it was like, I can't use my character because I have only attacks in my hand. And so then, so when you see a power flip, you're like, this does fucking nothing because it's just a 5-diff attack and blows.
Yeah.
And the worst part against the Enactors matchup in that same scenario is power flip fucking blows because like I don't want to build these down because I get rid of my stats, and Desperation Enhance on it I never get to use, so I don't get to selectively build these Shadow Inheritances. And so like it was just really bad. And the fact that we only played 1 game, Rob and I, meant I couldn't even side them out. And so like I had these power flips and I had to deal with them. So like that's part of, if you see too much orange, Cassie is inhibited on the turn 2, but it also means that you can do it on turn 3 if you play enough of those attacks out. So if you can get rid of 3 of them, you can do it. But even getting rid of 3 off of 4 foundations is kind of hard sometimes because if you check another 3 or whatever, but you get to look at the top card of your deck. So sometimes you can fill it up. You can like if one of them's a Kimbo, you usually can do it.
Right. Now, did you make any sort of like changes to your Cassie based on the deck that was in the UK?
Actually, I was playing Cassie locally for about like the 4 months, right, that I was telling you about, and I was waiting for Cassie to do well in other events so that I could learn and change my deck accordingly. And I saw the decks that did well in the UK, and then I also saw the one that did well in the PTC. And man, I'm not trying to throw shade at all. I looked at them and I'm like, these decks are garbage. Like whoever's playing Throw It Down in Cassie needs to stop playing Cassie. I just think that card's not good in her. And I'm not trying to say like, man, they don't deserve what they got. Obviously they deserve the placement that they got. They did very well and the character is very good. But I
think Not Over Yet is much better as well.
Right. Yeah. It was just like, man, like Throw It Down is only good for the 0 high block. And that it ignores. So you can like just play it on your first, like just play it as your first card and then play a Nutcracker sometimes and you can just do it. But like it directly doesn't synergize with Glow Kick, which is honestly her kill card. So like, and like, I don't think people were taking advantage of that. I think people were trying to build Cassie around a Kimbo. And so they were trying to throw 4 copies of every card that ignores progressive into their deck and take advantage of that. That's one thing I disagreed with all those lists as well. They were playing 4 copies of Sense of Morals and 4 copies of Season's Guide. And I think that's super fucking greedy. And like, I don't think you're allowed to do that right now because characters like Liu Kang exist. Even Desperation Evil, like you're just going to die if you don't have that block in your hand.
Exactly.
So like, I didn't play 4 copies of each of those. I did 3 and 3 because I was like 6 non-blocks just for this package that makes Cassie good. I'll take it. I was playing greedy cards, so I'm not saying that like I'm playing a non-greedy deck. I mean, I'm the epitome of a greedy player. I even sat across J-Ray in top 4 for singles, and I would play some cards in my deck, and they're all like, he's like, "That's cute," and I'm like, "You mean greedy?" Like Power Flip is an incredibly greedy card.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I think you were running what, 3 Power Flip?
I played 3. It used to be. It was 4 and 2 of my reversals. 4 Power Flips, 2 Chris Platts. The non-block just blows, and Power Flip's really only good on like turn 2 or turn 3, and then after that it sucks.
Yeah, I know. I think we talked about it on the post UK thing because we had a guy in Virginia that really, really, really wanted to play Cassie, and I basically threw. I mean, I threw together like I think he threw it together, and I had like something similar that was basically just like a modified like super greedy like Power Flip like Turbo Man list, and sort of like modified a bit for Cassie, and I know just like having played those couple games that like similar to what you said like Glow Kick, like overperformed so much. Like I played that card like one time like I had the person at like less than 10 and drew my hand and had like 2 attacks, one of which was a Glow Kick, and I was like, I'm not even gonna play this other attack. I'm just gonna go not over yet, every foundation in my hand, Glow Kick, E, put another foundation up, stack a foundation, Glow Kick E, put another foundation in, give it 10 billion speed, and you're never like they don't have any resets.
They're like,
they didn't have a revoke.
Cool Focus?
I was like,
Cool Focus? You're like, is that a Cool Focus? I'll also still Shadow Inheritance it? Cool Focus blows. Like, it's just one of like the hardest ones, like Flame Aura, but I'm like, whatever, you can take half. I don't give a shit. I totally agree. Like, that's how I was killing people. Like, Quan Chi couldn't deal with Glow Kick, which is why it was a big deal, like, locally. Like, you just kill people with Glow Kick. Akimbo's cool, but it's a high attack, so, like, Flame Aura just...
And it's slow. I mean...
Yeah, and it's very slow. It's a 3 high for 3. It is just a value card. But, like, you look at Glow Kick, and, like, you don't get to draw 5 cards off of it, but it replaces itself if you stack an attack or a not over yet or a stop on top of your deck. Like, it replaces itself. Or sometimes you have that foundation that you put there or whatever. Like sometimes I'll Merciless Master, put it on top, and reveal with Glow Kick because I want that extra damage or I want that extra 2 speed. And it's like that's the coolest part about the card. Like, and that's why it's the kill card. Power Flip's just cute. Power Flip's a good like turn 1 out foundation, not over yet. Foundation. Power Flip on a 5. Oh, I got lucky. I'll build these and I'll attack you again. Like. Like it's really greedy and it's really cute. Chris Blatt was just way more combo oriented and like attack oriented. So it was like one of Power Flips comes out, one Chris Blatt goes in, and it's why Shoryuken was a 3 of in the sideboard is because the Power Flips just came out and they went in. Like no matter what, it had a block.
Okay, so you didn't have any. I haven't even really looked at the list. But so you were just running like Shoryuken in the side.
Yeah, it was only in the side.
Honestly, I feel like it was probably a little less important with Quan Chi being gone. Like, you probably didn't necessarily need it game 1.
Yeah, it was especially like, if I played against like M3C Quan Chi or something like that. It was like here we go. Like I didn't need it game 1. It probably would have been mainboarded over Power Flip. But at the same time, like when I was justifying for my sideboard, because the sideboard didn't come together probably for 2 weeks until this event. I play tested it without it. Honestly, if Power Flip was not mainboarded, it also wasn't sideboarded. And I will say that the games that I did use Power Flip, it was very good, and I'm glad that I had it.
Yeah.
It's a very good game 1 card, but afterwards you just don't need it. So like just getting that advantage on game 1 is pretty much it. But everything else is just a pretty cookie cutter. Nutcracker out of 4, Kimbo's out of 4, Glow Kick's out of 4, and then Chris Platt just for the helping. Not over yet's at 4, 2 stops, 1 extra in the sideboard, and that is off symboled, and that was my decision after Quan Chi was banned, because instead I was playing Let's Make This a Fair Fight at a 2 of main board. And a older version, it was Templar at a 2 of main board. Just because I liked the interaction of stacking with Cassie defensively and looking at one of the 2 cards I get to draw.
Yeah.
That's really cool about that card. But Templar is not very good right now, meta-wise, just because I think people, like things like Unhealthy Diet exist. things like Expert Swimmer do exist. Not that people are playing those.
I think it depends. I mean, Templar is good when mid attacks are good, and mid attacks are good. So Templar is not bad. I mean, there definitely are, like, people are, like, mainboarding, like, Vitality Gain stuff, but the other thing, too, is, like, Call Red-Handed's gone, and Venomous sure isn't in that many decks.
Yeah.
So.
It's also just one of those things where it's like, what was more important? Committing my opponent's character off-symboled, which means if I played against single-barreled, I got a little screwed.
Right. Yeah. But it removes itself, too, so.
Correct. It was more so, like, if they single-barreled it,
after you check
and I could only block with Cassie cards, essentially. There's a few other ones, but, like,
Oh, no. I'm sure you weren't running too
I guess I'll block with this Nutcracker and Breaker 2. You got me. Like, you're right. You're right. It's just one of those things where, like, it was something I did have to consider. It was part of the reason why on offense, we almost always shoved in season guides if we wanted to ignore. And on defense, we almost always shoved in Sense of Morals for that reason. Of which I messed up in the boss battle because I didn't put in my Sense of Moral and I put in season guide instead, and I tried to block with the stop and I fucked myself. So
give me this.
So like there's some cheeky things. She's not an easy character. Like I do want to tell people, like, she's not an easy character. I only felt confident playing her because I had been playing her for 4 months. I made a bunch of changes after Quan Chi got banned. Like Novitiate came out of the deck. Way of a True Warrior came in. Way of a True Warrior got bumped up in the sideboard. Deliverances came in. Like, a lot of things changed after Quan Chi left the format because it was my hardest matchup was Liu Kang, and even then it was a 50-50. So then it was just, what can I put in to make the 50-50 a 60-40 in my favor? And that was pretty much it. But yeah, sorry, back to the full loop of the question. When I looked at these other lists, I really just didn't take anything from them. The most information I got out of my own deck was Barry and I exchanged some thoughts on the character when I first mentioned her in a UFSU video, because he does watch our content. And he wanted to see what my list looked like, and he sent me his list. I told him, hey, you're missing some really cool cards that I think are really good in her, and you're playing some cards that I don't necessarily agree with. He was playing Senshi no Sochu, and I was like, that's a really cool card in her. I'm going to give it a try. Again, it's a very greedy card. Yep. It's a very, again, I don't know if anyone noticed, if y'all were sitting behind me for much, but whenever I sideboarded in her, the 2 Way of a True Warriors went in, and the Senshis came out. Like, it was boop. If the extra stop came in, an Agile Warrior came out. Like, it was just like, let's get rid of these 4 checks. Let's get rid of these greedy cards. Let's get rid of these cards that don't really do anything in the matchup, and make the deck better on defense, and then also just be better consistently. So, like, that's what happened. So the only thing I will say is Barry absolutely convinced me to play Senshi, because on game 1, that card matters a lot. But afterwards, it sucks. So so that was pretty much it when I saw these other lists.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just curious. I mean, to me, I would say, like, the biggest revelation, if you will, at least of the UK thing, was, like, running all those Shawokens. And like you said, I mean, I guess you just had them in the side. But yeah, I mean, when you said that you've basically been tinkering with the deck since, like, MK came out, I mean, I presumed that, you know, you had already, like, a fairly solidified thing. So I just didn't know if there was anything that, like, drastically changed.
Definitely the Way of a True Warriors are what drastically changed. When Liu Kang was the top dog, Way of a True Warrior was a 3 of somewhere. Because you can build it off the top. It's just randomly really good. It doesn't stop the next combo, but it stops this one. Yeah. Which is important enough. Yeah. They can still respond yin and yang after I respond. They can still respond to character after I respond, because a window exists. But it says, hey, I'm gonna flip and commit this foundation so that you don't get to debuild my Shadow Inheritance on this Vatica, and that super mattered. Yeah. Or randomly against all the decks that I played in tops, oh, you're playing Sadistic Waves, or you're playing Sand Grenade. Yeah, let's get rid of that keyword that kills me. So, like, I'm super glad I put it in. The card is incredibly good right now. I recommend it to everybody. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that I had other pieces that I bumped up. Like, Bebop Blues became a 2 of in the deck because Quan Chi was nuts. And even after Quan Chi got banned, I was like, I don't want this to be anything else, so I just kept it in as a 2-of.
Yeah.
So Artifice Avarice is nuts in her, and I'm a sack, so like I kept him in. That's a Nat special. We're gonna play Artifice Avarice at every Nationals because I played it in Mega Man too. The 4-of.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So let's talk about your top matches. Who'd you play in top 16? Who'd you play against in top? I
played against Christopher Bromley playing Faye under Chaos.
Okay.
After he waited 4 hours for me to finish my match with Dave.
You kind of put
I felt real bad about it.
You kind of put that man put him on ice there. It's like you call the timeout before like the game-winning field goal or whatever, and you had to sit there
for 4 hours.
For 4 hours, and you know that Faye deck was just like the darling of Tampa. You know, like everyone just was raving about that deck. So
oh really?
Yeah.
No, I knew nothing about this deck.
My gosh, it was me and Rob pretty much gushed about it on the Tampa episode, and it's pretty freaking awesome when it goes off.
It was incredibly cool to play against. Yeah, I loved every minute of it just because it was like, oh my god, I have an answer to stun. I have an answer to Sand Grenade. Yeah. I don't have an answer to Fate Sadistic Ways. Which one's he gonna play? Am I just dead? He played Sadistic Ways. Cool. I'll wave a True Warrior it. All right. Okay, we lived. It was so it was so cool. Yeah. The the secret stash in that deck to mill. The feign interest on top of the discard pile, so that on my turn I'm attacking him. He's like, I'll pick up the Sand Grenade, and I'm like, do I not get to attack anymore because he gets to pick up another card? Like, I'm like, oh, this sucks. It was so cool. It was so awesome. The Felicity House, I think, we were already playing in Liu Kang. We built a Liu Kang Fatality loop deck because it's a combo in Felicity House and Fulfilled for Battle. So, we had built that locally, and we were like, I got it. It was so cool. It was amazing. Using Fatality for the snap momentum and then free enhance on Faye, it's perfect. It was so cool to play against. She has 29 life, or she only has 25 life, so it was real easy for me. That was really the biggest thing. It was a 2-0. I made him wait 4 hours, and I beat him 2-0. And I was like, I kind of feel bad, but the deck was really cool. It was fantastic to play against. I had a lot of fun. I was also taking, after playing 4 hours with Dave, I was kind of taking the first few matches of tops again. I didn't care that much about singles too much because I really wanted to win teams, and after I didn't, it was like, I'm gonna wind down. I was already so tense. I need to relax. It was on stream. I don't know if you go watch it. I'm cracking jokes the whole time. Sure. And I'm trying to be funny, and I'm sure Christopher didn't really like it. Yeah. But he said it in Discord yesterday on the drive home. He's all like, man, I was over here. I felt like I was more tense than he was after watching that 4 hour long match because he sat down across from me, was chipper as fuck. I was just trying to loosen up, and it was a good one to do it against because the deck was really cool. Mm-hmm. But I was also just glad that I have a lot of these answers in my deck that I prepped for other decks that also were an answer to this one. Yeah. So Bebop Blues against Faye is incredibly strong. Yep. Stop against Faye is incredibly strong. Mm-hmm. And Show You Oken is good for his deck for the +4s. Or even moving the momentum. It was Show You Oken was a great card to side into. It was really good. It was just a solid match of UFS. I was applying so much pressure that I was forcing him to block with the sand grenades that he was picking up. Okay. It was just I had a really good matchup. I really believe that. So
yeah, I remember you saying that in tomorrow our collaborative video comes out as of recording tomorrow, and you said that you mentioned that a couple times that you took top 16, top 8 a bit, kind of to wind down to collect yourself because that was a fucking grind of a match against Dave. So that might have been one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in UFS ever.
The best match of UFS I've ever played. Yeah, and I played an incredibly good match against Andrew Alexa last year at Nationals. Yeah. And so it topped that one. Mm-hmm. And it was just a really cool experience. And Dave is a fantastic player to have that experience with as well. So it was very good. I learned from Dave, even just playing against him, to just take my time. And so because of how much time we took, I believe neither of us ever made a play mistake
Sure.
I lost to Dave. I didn't lose to Sniper Joe.
Yeah.
Which is always the best way to lose UFS if you are going to lose UFS. I didn't lose to the deck. I lost to Dave.
Yeah.
Just like for the same reason last year. I didn't lose to J Ray in top. I didn't lose to J Ray's Keith Disbro deck in top 4. I lost to J Ray.
Yeah.
J Ray's such a good player. So that's always to me the better way to play the game.
Now, top 8 you.
I played JJ playing Metalman.
Yeah, you played JJ playing Metalman. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, to me, I was really happy about it. JJ wasn't too happy about it. Just because, to me, I took it as if I was playing locally. I was playing a casual with JJ, and I was like, whichever one of us makes it, we were in top 4. Like, that's good to me.
Yeah.
It was the same feeling when I had to play against Legendary Wolves team in top 4 for teams. It's like, man, this fucking blows. But like, one of us is making it.
Sure.
One of us is going to be there. Which is so. Then that's the person you get to cheer for. Do I get to cheer for you, or do you get to cheer for me? So that was just kind of rough. I 2-0'd him there, but I took it. I took the time. I relaxed. I wind down a little bit. Had a little bit of my RB shake that my buddies went and got me. So like, I took some time. I relaxed. It was also on stream. Like I was on stream for everything because everybody was waiting for me.
Yeah.
To finish that other match. So I basically sat at the stream table for every single game. But I enjoyed it. It was a 2-0. He couldn't do anything. Game 2, I played 9 attacks on one turn.
Christ.
So like, it was just over. Like, it was a little rough.
Poor Metalman. Poor Metalman.
Yeah, he was really upset. Like, he was a little mad that he lost game 1. And then game 2, he built 2 foundations after removing his hand. So it was not his game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it was a little rough, but I mean, he's a good buddy. He's a friend of mine. He's super happy that I won, and he was part of the way that I got there. So like, it's still good.
I mean, would you say that those sort of help? Because that was sort of one of the things I was wondering about. I know I had to. I think I left, and I think you guys were still doing top 8. Because I had to be back for work, and so I was sort of checking in later, and I know Chris told me it was like that you and Andrew Forrest like in finals, and so and he sort of like told me, he's like, oh, like Barrett just won, and the first thing I thought, I was like, wow, like that's like really impressive to have that like absolute like 3.5-4 hour game in teams where like one teammate won, one teammate lost, so like it's up to you, and to like lose that game like as close as it was. And then immediately have to turn around and do like top 16 for singles. Like, I thought that was like really impressive to basically be able to like take that loss and then turn around and like run like 4 more games or 4 more matches to win singles. I mean, do you think that it was that like you said, that you felt like you had a pretty good, like, favorable, I guess, matchup in like top 16.
It was,
and then you got to play like a friend in like top 8. Like, did that help you sort of like ease the tension or whatever? Or?
It definitely helped me wind down, and like even when we get to start talking about top 4, like I was still in that wind down kind of phase. But yeah, it's I didn't do the math, but I think Tam was talking me up during dinner or whatever when we were there with Christmas and stuff like that. Yeah, I played UFS for 10 hours straight that day. And I went to the bathroom once.
Yep.
So like I played.
That sounds like you need to hydrate more.
You're right. Usually when I travel,
I mean, have you seen Kevin Broberg? I'm pretty sure that guy drinks like a gallon of water each round. Like,
oh no, I definitely don't do that. No, I had a shake and that breakfast that I talked about in the beginning of the day, and that was it. And then I didn't eat until we went to Mexican that night afterwards. It was, I don't know, like I do a lot of theater. That's like my personal thing. I haven't done it in a very long time, but like I don't get nervous. Like I don't get stage fright. I don't do that. But I guess I do feel pressure, sure. And so I just wanted to do well for my friends, and that's where all that pressure came from in the teams match. It was like I didn't want to win it for myself. I wanted to win it for them. I wanted to win it for UFSU. I wanted to win it for them. Cool. I would have named the card Rookie of the Year. That's for me. But like,
yeah.
Like I didn't start playing this game to win cardboard. That was not my goal. But that's what they wanted, and I wanted to do well for them. And so then when I lost it, it was I was still tense, and I was like, man, that sucks. because like they did the math and everybody was telling me like too, like if I had checked that 5 instead of the 4 that Dave knew was on top of my deck, I lived that turn because I also had the deliverance. And so like it was just one of those things where it was like, man, did I mess up because I wasn't enhancing Sense of Morals after he looked at the top card of my deck? Like, did I mess up because I didn't read Dave correctly?
Yeah, but I mean, but you don't know what I don't think anyone knows like what's under the other 5 though. So yeah.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where it's like, you're right. The top 16 match. I didn't want to lose in top 16 just because I didn't really know Christopher Bromley. He's bought cards for me before. I've seen the name. But it was just more so like, you know, I again, the goal was to do the same, if not better than I did last year. And so like, I didn't want to lose in top 16, but I still had to relax. I had to calm down. Top 8, I got to relax some more. That was a favor that I got to play JJ. And then in top 4, I had to play against J-Ray. And so there was Jackie deck. Who was Swiss champ at the tournament.
So that's basically, like, I guess what you said, it's like a run back of last year, right?
It was exactly last year. Yeah, in top 4, I played against J-Ray last year, and then I played against him here. And so then, like, when I knew it was J-Ray, I thought I was going to get, like, more pressure or whatever. But then I was like, man, this is my UFS idol. Like, I look up to J-Ray very much so in this game. We play very similarly, so I've been told. We play very similar decks occasionally. So then, like, when I sat across from him, it was like, if I'm going to lose to anybody, I am definitely okay with it being J-Ray. Like, I told myself that inside, and I told him that outside. It's on stream. You can go, it's like, I'm genuine. I'm just like, if I'm going to lose, it's here, and I'm okay with that. And if I beat him, then, like, I don't know, I guess he threw the game, because I never in a million years thought I could beat J-Ray at my current level. For the same reason why he beat me last year. We played very good matches. Game 3 was just not his match to win, and I beat him. So like I felt very good afterwards. I know he didn't, but I mean I totally understand where he's coming from too. It's like 2 years in a row of being so close. Yeah, like him losing in finals last year and then losing to me this year. Like I totally get it too. Like but I'm glad that I got to play against him and not some other schmuck. So and he said it multiple times. He's all like, Omaha's going to beat me one year, man. And it might be this year. And then I got him. So yeah. And that was meanwhile, Andrew Force was playing Jesse Zerbini.
Yeah, so just like, I guess you had some Omaha crime in top 8. And they had some Rochester
crime. Yeah.
So yeah, and then after I beat him, I was like, man, that feels really good to beat like my idol. And then it was like, oh shit, I'm in finals. So it was like, oh shit. And then everybody's obviously wanting me to win. UFSU is like, they're sitting behind me the whole time, like they're cheering me on. And Andrew was already done with his match before I finished mine. He was over there waiting. And I was all like, man, should I take this time and take a break? And I was like, man, fuck it, let's just play. Like, I was like, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose. Like, that's what I said. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose. If I'm going to win, it's going to be over. And we sat down and we played, and I lost the die roll. So he went first. And I looked at my opening hand on game 1, and I said, oh my gosh, is this the hand? The Cassie Cage turn 1 attack hand. And I was like, man, if there's any place to do it, I guess it's in finals, right? And so I kept it, and I went for it, and I attacked him on turn 1. I clocked him for like 9 or something, and I should have paid attention to what he built a little bit better, because I should have been like, can he cut himself to desperation in 1 or 2 attacks? And yeah, he definitely could. And I died on turn 2 because I did that. And I was like, and after that game was over, I like set my deck down and I like looked down at the table and I'm like, am I about to throw this match away? I'm like, oh, because he turned 2'd me. It was over. And I was over here doing math on his kill turn on turn 2 for sadistic ways. And it was just a cats. And I'm like, oh, I guess that's just fucking easier, right? but I built so poorly that I couldn't even block the cats. And so I was like, holy shit, am I about to throw this match away? And I looked at my sideboard and I looked at everything and I was like, fuck it. I threw all 8 cards in. The Show You Okins came in, the Deliverances came in for the cats, the stop came in, and the Way of a True Warrior came in for powerful 2, multiple, and throw. I was like, they're coming in. They're coming. Everything's coming in. I played game 2. Man, some background for this too. I was having Chris Nixon tell me about this deck a little bit. I don't know if I was not listening or he was lying to me. I thought this deck had like Coffee Samba in it. I thought it had Fades. I thought it had Princess Perry. Like I was like, oh shit, this matchup blows for me. I'm gonna die. It's gonna be over. And like I learned after game 1 that I didn't see them. I was like, okay, all right, where are they at? It's just Revoke. Game 2, I beat him. I don't remember how quick it was. I honestly don't remember that game very well. Game 2, I still didn't see him. I was like, where's the Princess Parries? Where's the Fades? Game 2, he saw all 4 Revokes though, so that was kind of cool, I guess.
I had a game like that once.
I mean, like, I don't know. It was in Swiss. Side note: I powered through triple Princess Parry on my turn and still killed my opponent.
Nice.
And so, like, I can play through 4 Revokes. Who fucking cares? Like for real. Like, it was just, I just kill him. And then in game 3, I know I ripped the stop off the top of the deck, but like I genuinely think I lived that turn without it. I know it was like super clutchy and like
it looked very like because I was standing on Andrew's side because we had a huge crowd around you guys and he had like double Sadistic Ways, Quick Taste, Get Over Here, and a Cathedral and something else in his hand. Like I'm like I lean over to Tam. I'm like, I think Barrett's dead, but then you rip that clutch stop off the top, and I don't know if I don't know. I'm not playing the game, so I'm not really paying attention to the numbers or whatever. I just see 6 attacks in a hand, and I'm just like, holy shit! Is this where Andrew wins it? And then I get up I turn away for a second. You stop him, and like the whole game changes. Like from there on out, from an outsider looking in, it looks like,
I think that's what a lot of people think it was. It was me ripping the stop off the top of the deck from Cassian Hands and drawing it with the Hacker Extraordinaire. But genuinely, like I have still had the Nutcracker in my hand, the Breaker 2 that I was gonna do on the Cathedral Standoff that he played against me, and I was like, and then I did the math. I was like, if he does have the Sadistic Ways, it's on a 7, 8, 9, checks a 5, taps out anyway, and so like I'm just like, and then it doesn't kill me, so. Like, to me, I thought I wasn't dead anyway. Like, he didn't have enough foundations to play all of those attacks, even if he threw them all. And so, like, I know the stop looked really clutch, and that's how I won the game. If anything, I think it just made him stop attacking me earlier, which is good, but also bad. And then I just slammed him on the next turn. Again, but I'm over here playing around Fade, playing around Princess Perry, playing around... Coffee Samba because I thought it was in the deck, and like the match was over. Like I sent the glow kick or whatever that was for lethal, and he like discarded a card for -2 damage with his foundation, and I'm like, oh, the Flamor. He's got a Flamor. He's gonna half block this and not die. And I was like, shit. Can I play another attack in my hand? I was like, I guess I can if I tap out, which will still kill him. But I was like, shit, I didn't play around Flame Aura. I'm gonna lose this game now because I didn't play around Flame Aura. And he put his hand across the table and shook it. And I was like, holy shit, I won. And I was like, where the fuck were these Fades and Princess Berries? I'm over here having a heart attack playing around these cards, and they weren't in the deck. And I guess I got wrong information or something, or I don't know what it was. I played that game. I was playing real hard against everything, and they didn't exist. And I guess, I don't know. I don't think it was a very hard finals matchup. Like there's nothing against Andrew Force. I mean, the way I lost game 1, I was like, ooh, I deserve to lose this if I'm doing this. Like I was like, crap. Like, and I can see how he won how he got there. He deserved that spot because if people weren't ready for a deck like that, you just died to it. If you held the wrong answers, just like against that Fey deck, you just died to it. So, like, I did feel it was very good to play against him. I believe I've never played against him before.
He just came back, I think, to the games a couple months ago, I believe. Like he's been a long time Rochester player, but I think he took a break for a while, maybe because of school or something, and then he's now hitting the circuit again pretty hard with the Rochester clan.
Yeah, that's good. So I hadn't seen him before, but it was good. I never imagined in my entire Nats prediction that Cassie and Vicious would be the two in finals. Like, I mean,
I don't think anyone. I know Rob didn't see any. I know Rob didn't see Cassie at all.
I honestly almost didn't see any Bebop character in finals, to be honest.
No, I agree. I can agree that. Yeah.
I presume that Chris has informed you repeatedly about my interactions with Garrett on the weekend. Or has he not?
No,
okay. It's okay. No, I did. I will say though, Garrett Brett came up to me on Saturday night, and we were congratulating everybody that made top 16 that night. And I walked over to Garrett. I was like, "Hey man, congratulations on making top 16." He's all like, "Thanks, man. You're the Cassie player in tops, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I made it into 11th, and I diversified the other person." And he's all like, "Well, man, you might win this whole thing." And I was like, "Really? You really think that?" He's all like, "Yeah, man, I think Cassie is a character that can definitely do it. And I've been watching you the whole tournament, and you are I'm most afraid to play against you." And I was like, "Oh, that means a lot, man. I really appreciate it." I'm like, "Who do you have to play?" He's like, "I got to play No Attack Heidi in round 1, playing a Control Spike 1 deck." And I was like, "Oh, well, you're fucked."
Yeah.
But Garrett, he told me that night, and then I won the whole thing, and I saw him walk over, and I was like, "Holy shit, this motherfucker! He predicted the whole thing." The prophet over here.
So that's the thing. So he, I think it was even like, it might have been before singles. It was definitely like really early on. I mean, it might have even been during like the day of teams, and I saw him, and he was like, "Hey, Rob, like, do you still think Cassie's a bad character?" I was like, I don't know, man. Like, why? And he's like, "I'm just asking." He's like, "I don't know why." Like, he's like, "You're like a good player. I don't know why you think this character's bad." I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't think she's that impressive. I think she's got like some good tools, but like, whatever. Like, yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, well, I think Cass is gonna win the whole tournament." I was like, "All right." Like, he's like, you still think she's bad?" I'm like, "Garrett, like, yeah." I was like, I've been saying this for like,
what do you want me to say? Yeah, I think she's
like,
bad.
What do you want me to say? Like, yeah, okay.
He's a day one Cassie hater, man. Definitely.
Honestly, when the only card support we saw was leading the team, hell yeah, dude. This
definitely. Blows. Oh yeah, for sure.
Right when Terry 1 dot rotates, this character's garbage. And then like day of release, you're like, holy shit, Akimbo's nuts in draft.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, for real.
But, so I was talking to Chris, and he's like, "Yeah, Barrett just won." And I'm like, "Son of a bitch." And it had to be like within 5 minutes. I'm like clicking through some stuff. Bloop. I got like this Facebook message, and it's just Garrett. He's like, "Hey, Rob, you still think Cassie's bad?" I was just like,
okay, so to preface that, I told Garrett to message him and give him shit about that. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were joking about it.
Yeah, I mean, and like he had his write-up on the forums like he normally does. It wasn't like a Nats write-up. It was more so for this whole thing that people are talking about, which is for another day, I guess. But I mean, you're not wrong, Rob. Like there is nothing there's nothing special about this character. This character is stats. The character. That's all she is.
My sort of take on it is I was like, I don't really know about Cassie herself. I was like, I will readily concede though that Cassie is definitely the best Shadow Inheritance deck, and that card's nuts.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only cool thing about making the deck was that it's one of the one decks or characters I've ever built that you actually use all 9 cards for support, like all 8 cards for support.
I think we said something about that, like on when they previewed her, like we said something about like, yeah, she's probably gonna need all of her support to function properly.
And it's not even that I think she needs all of her support. Yeah. It's just that all support is really good in her.
Yeah.
And so like Akimbo, you can throw that honestly in any character and just like build cards and draw 1 or 2 and replace them. Like that's good enough in most decks. Glow Kick needs a little more synergy with the character. Carrying the Legacy, though, you could throw that card in any deck, and anytime you block with a Foundation, you get to bring it down and build it, and have -1 damage for the rest of their attacks. That card's nuts. I played against Brett Hillman in top 8 of teams, and we did the Cassie mirror, and like he wasn't playing that card, and I was like, and he played against me, and after we played our match, I 2-0'd him there, but he was all like, yeah, man, you saw things in Cassie that I never saw, and I was like, and I asked him at Mexican, I was like, wait a minute, you weren't playing Carrying the Legacy? It's like, nah, dude, I thought that card was bad. I was like, you're out of your goddamn mind. That card, if Shadow Inheritance didn't exist, that's her best card. Like, actually just her best card. It readies a Foundation. It lets you build something defensively after you block with it. With Nutcracker, it allows you to build the card that you Nutcracker in. Like,
sure.
Like, it's just, like, it's actually just nuts. See, Shadow Inheritance is just good right now because of Liu Kang existing. So
I mean, honestly,
getting -3 to block mods.
I mean, honestly, it's probably one of the best answers.
Yeah.
But I mean that, like, especially in multiples. I mean, that R for blocks, like on attacks. I mean, that's like that was the thing. Is like when you and I played, like having those out. I mean, that was easily the card that was like the most like of everything that like. I saw everything, you know, just like looking at those, I was like, of all the cards like that he's got built, that he's playing, like that's the card I'm worried about.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, that's the card. Like, if I die, that's the card that's going to kill me.
I mean, every time where it's like, I'll cast in hand, shove this in, right, and look at the top 3, and there's a Shadow Inheritance. Guess what you're building? Like it's the one you pick, almost always, unless you're digging for like a Bebop Blues on purpose or something like that. It's really like the card has a 2 low block with Breaker 1 on it. That actually matters sometimes. So like, especially with a lot of nutty low attacks.
Playing against Slam, he blocked something with that and jetted it up to like Breaker 3. I was just why does that have Breaker?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the deck did what I made it to do, and it did it very well. I don't think I had any games where the deck just shit on me. Because like it's hard to say that like, well, I saw 6 orange cards. It's really hard to say that that's the deck shitting on you, but it actually is sometimes when that's not what you. That happened to me against Dave in Game 1, and I think if that didn't happen, I think I actually took Game 1 off of him. And if at any point I took Game 1 off of him, if you saw Game 2, it was over on turn 2 because that's the kind of matchup I thought I was going to have against the Sniper Joe deck. Is I can just turn 2 him and it's over. And that's what happened. And so I lost the die roll against Dave, which made it an uphill battle already. And then in Game 1, I just saw too much orange too fast, and it was too bad. So like, yeah. I mean, I know. I mean, I haven't played Cassie a lot, but I had similar experiences when I played Gutsman a ton. That was often like the worst thing that could happen is like turn 2, and I would have like 4 attacks in hand, and and then you're just like, I don't want to play these. Like I want to maybe play like 1, but like I want to build, you know, or for Cassie, it's like you want those non-attacks because like you'll either throw like something really big and build some, or you're gonna just like draw more cards and you'll like get those attacks. Akimbo is one of the hardest cards to play around just because it's like if you Akimbo and you draw these attacks and you're like, yeah, I want these, but then you're on your opponent's turn with like 6 cards in hand and like they don't attack you and you're like, oh, I'm stuck with these, and like, well, normally it's a good thing, but not if I only have 6 foundations. Which is part of the reason why cards like Look the Devil are in the deck. Look the Devil is a fail-safe for when I have too many attacks and I don't have the Not Over Yet and I don't have the Crisplat. Like that's why they're in there. They're cards for me to commit, and they're cards to blow up, and like that's why it's in there. And there were people like Barry Everson didn't have it in his deck when we were tossing it back and forth. I was like, look, man, I think you got to have that card. All already doesn't have that great of a foundation base, and I think that's one of them you gotta play. So
yeah, I know. I don't know where, like, Chris, where are we at, like, time wise?
Time wise, we're a little over an hour.
Okay, that's fine. Good. Good.
So, well, no, I want to comment. I want to comment on the devil card. That's like one of those cards that seems like it has like kind of like exposition in a way where it still has use even after you commit it. I know like exposition is one of Tim Keefe's favorite cards, and
it was
like
lost that card.
Yeah, like you just commit
fight.
that thing and you blow yours up for 2 check for an attack, and then that just keeps you. I know you popped one against Andrew Force in finals. You were popping those as you were going on that final kill turn.
Yeah, it was just for a failsafe. I was like, if something goes wrong here, it's finals. I'm not taking any risks. Yeah. I'm blowing both of them up. I'm passing another check if you don't block this one.
Not taking any risks.
I killed him with that attack, but I was ready to play another one.
Yeah. So after game one, you took no risks.
I took no risks at that point. You're correct. It was another thing too. Is like that card wasn't. I mean, I know it only came out in Street Fighter, but Street Fighter was already a lackluster set. Yeah. That card almost saw no play last Nationals anyway. Yeah. It was just like did have a block on it. It's a 4-check. Like people weren't playing it. The card saw a little bit more play when Faye came into the light because it was a card under Chaos or Good that you could play. Right, it does have those symbols.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
That you could play, and it was a momentum after you blew it up to play your next attack. Like it was a free card you could blow up, and you could then put a momentum in with Faye. Like, I only considered the card because Tam put it in his Faye deck. And I looked at the all foundations, and I'm like, man, these cards blow. And I'm like, this is good enough, I guess. So it stayed in. Honestly, one of my most favorite cards in the deck is Merciless Master. The synergy with that card in her is so good. Like, I gotta check a 5 for this Makimbo, but there's a 3 on top of my deck. Man, I really want to draw that. Boop. It's on top. I'll check this 5. Or it's like,
I know.
I'm like, I'm gonna draw 3 with this Akimbo, and there's 1 attack there. All right, I'll put this momentum on top, and then I'll put the Akimbo. I'll draw them both. Like, it's so good.
Pretty sick. Yeah. That's one of Rob's favorite cards.
Chris can definitely testify to this, that Scott and I in Maryland, like, we, sort of preach the gospel of
Merciless Master.
Merciless Master. Yeah. Like, I love that card. He loves that card.
I fit it into when
I was wrong. He wasn't playing Jet for teams. He was also playing Cassie. And I know when he was going through stuff, he's like, dude, I can play a glow kick and just stack momentum and just draw another attack with a glow kick. Like, this is awesome. And I was just like, yep.
You're right. So, I mean, you can also just do it defensively. Like, did I hit you with this nutcracker? I mean, I probably did. I'll stack it on top of Merciless Master. Did I hit you with another attack? I'll hacker it. Like, it's just like, it's like Merciless is so good under that symbol specifically.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely loves. I think he played in like his Ringman list too. Like, he loves those cards that you can just like go, man, like, I really want to check a 5 right now. And it's just like, oh, well, I'll tell you what.
I'm checking a 5.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you're checking a 4, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what you need. You need the 4. I loved it. I couldn't. It was at 2 at one point, and I was doing some cutting in the deck at some point, like after Quan Chi got banned, and I was like, I could never feel myself taking it out, but it was really good, so I kept it in.
Yeah. I think that was sort of one of the things I was curious about. I know we briefly talked, like, when we were headed back from on Saturday, I guess, when you guys were going back to do some prep, and you were talking a little bit about Cassie and sort of talking about how I think you were sort of saying like the sweet spot was playing like 1 or 2 foundations and then like the attack, because you wanted to basically, like, if you checked a 5, like, you still wanted to commit like one
card. Yeah, you want to commit one card and shove it in with Cassie, because like what I told you is, and I remember what I said, the whole deck is basically efficiency. It's an efficiency based deck. If you play an Akimbo on like a 7 and you check a 3, did you do the right math to where committing 4 cards is good enough for this Akimbo? Normally it is, but like sometimes committing 4 is too much. Like, you were too greedy. You played too many foundations before this Akimbo because you're already going to shove one in with Cassie. So like, if you just play 2 foundations and it's on like a 5, well, if you check the 5, you're still losing value on not readying a foundation with Cassie. And you want to do it there so you can draw the extra card from Akimbo. But at the same time, like if you play it on a 6, is committing 3 or only maybe committing 1 what you want. Like sometimes checking a 6 on an akimbo that's on a 6 actually sucks. Like it actually blows. And so you're like, man, I never knew checking 6 felt bad, but it does in that character because it's all about efficiency. That one card you got to ready from Cassie is way better for later on in the chain when you have to tap things down and pass checks. If you miss out on that one readied foundation, you're losing on the efficiency, which can make or break a kill turn. And at the same time, that one non-attack card in your card pool make or breaks a speed or a damage that could also make the game. Which is why I felt confident after playing it for 4 months, because you have to know when to make those decisions. How many cards in your card pool is enough? In what scenario is just playing a Nutcracker on a 4 the play? Like you just open the turn with a Nutcracker, and you're like, that's not what that character says you should do. But like you get to shove one in with Cassie, and you shove one in with Nutcracker. Sometimes that's all you need to open up a turn. So like that was the whole deck. It was efficiency and it was math. FYI, a math major did win nationals this year because I'm a math major. So
I don't think
math is not for.
I don't think Tim Keefe is too high on like the math stuff. So that's definitely a change of pace.
Yeah, it's definitely, it was more so like that's the. If you ever wanted to know what goes on in my mind while I'm playing the deck, that is one of those things that you have to factor in with that deck. Obviously, the basic math of like, well, if I choose to give this speed with Cassie and I have 2 Shadow Inheritance built, I can give +6. If they check a 6, can they still block it? Of course not, because +6 suck is nuts.
Yeah.
So that's the easy math. But like the harder math is definitely like, how many cards am I committing every time I play a card? And that's the hardest part with the deck, I think, honestly. And that's kind of how I synergize it, which is why Senshi was in for game 1, because it makes math a little bit easier. Sometimes also the nutty plays with Senshi is blocking with a Senshi and then playing a reversal, and you get +2 to the check to play a reversal. And like I am a reversal-based character or based person, having played Mega Man last format. I always want to be able to do something on my opponent's turn, which the symbol is not very good at doing, but reversals are. And having the power flips mainboarded were kind of also part of that idea.
Now we all know the stories from Shane about how Cassie was speed and damage. Do you feel like that was a correct nerf then, that they made it one or the other in a way?
I've never heard of this.
Oh really? No, like
Shane
let it slip.
She would win. She'd beat Quan Chi every game. She'd be way nuttier than Quan Chi if she gave speed and damage. Even if just her foundation gave speed and damage, I think it'd be too much.
Shane let it slip. I believe it was at the Rockford PTC that she got nerfed, or maybe it was at Worlds that she got nerfed in testing because she was just beating ass too much at non-throw +1/+1. And they changed it, So
I did have a conversation with Ryan Pham. This was probably 2 months after it came out, just because I was keeping in touch with him, seeing how he's doing, because he's a good buddy of mine. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, because you had a lot of eyes on the Mortal Kombat set, who do you think is the worst character in the Mortal Kombat set?" And he said Cassie Cage, and he said that the amount of changes that they made to her. He wouldn't tell me, obviously. That's a lot of info that I didn't want to know anyway. But he said they did a lot more changes to Cassie Cage than he would have liked, and she ended up being the biggest hit on the hammer. And so he said that Cassie Cage was by far probably one of the worst characters in the set. And here I am now winning. So
that was something I thought was pretty interesting. So I think I would feel like the bottom 3 on most people's lists were probably Cassie, Kung Jin, and I would think like Melina.
Really? And, your bottom 3 are way different than Omaha's bottom 3.
But I was gonna say, and then like we get like Cassie and like Kung Jin, are both in like top 4. With I guess what Kung Vicious Jin, and like Jack. Like I mean, I don't think anyone thought like Jackie was bad, but
or Liu Kang, obviously, right. And like Goro was obviously good enough. I think Goro teams is Goro's format almost like obviously. Singles can be a little more rough, which I think is why we didn't see that many. But there were quite a few Goros in teams. Man, I'm actually pulling up Mortal Kombat right now. Just look at all these characters. So. Honestly, Omaha's top 3 or bottom 3 were like Devora, Ermac, and like Aaron Black.
Actually,
like, I can see that.
Ermac's.
Yeah, Ermac is kind of weird. Yeah.
There was a lot of people in Omaha that thought Shinnok was garbage too. But I showed up to Nationals and I saw like Dan Hughes' deck, and I played against he just added me on Facebook, and I don't
Michael
remember his
Nelson.
Name. Yes,
yeah,
Michael Nelson.
Yeah,
I played against that. That was I got Princess Parried 3 times on my turn, 2 of which turned into Coffee Samas. I was like, all right, okay, and I still killed him through it. I was like, all right, this is really cool though. But man, like I learned in that matchup, I was like, well, Shinnok just doesn't do any damage, so I can still kind of see Shinnok just being not good enough.
Yeah.
But like after Kung Jin got the errata or like the clarification essentially of the non-blocks or +4 speed, we actually went home and built a Kung Jin deck. Tam wanted to build one, and that's what Tyler ended up playing because just giving 4 speed to missile launchers are really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jesse was playing too. So like, I definitely didn't think he was in the bottom 3 after they made that clarification, but he definitely had no eyes on him until that clarification was made.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
So,
for sure.
Like that helped him out a lot. I didn't think Molina was at the bottom barrel either.
I honestly forgot about Ermac. I mean, he was probably down there too.
Yeah, for us, like Johnny Cage was lower than her just because Johnny Cage was too slow. Like Johnny Cage needs you to deal less and less damage to him, and people can just get around that.
Yeah,
like you put daughter versus father, and the daughter is going to kick all over him. Like Cass just doesn't even care. Jackie shits on Johnny Cage. Like it's real rough. Well, like Aaron Black is just one of those things where it's all like if he was a little bit faster.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I think it's more just to some degree. I mean, that's the thing is I don't think that necessarily those assessments are correct. And I mean, obviously, like some of the results would indicate that they're not. You know, and I think that some.
Well, how many Aaron Blacks throughout this tournament?
Probably none. Yeah,
1 or 2, maybe 0.
Oh my god,
so. That's bad.
If they were in teams, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. They weren't tops for teams, and there were 0 in Swiss.
Wow.
Nobody even wanted to play Snake Man. Like,
yeah,
which says a lot.
Why would they?
I mean, you're right, but I'm saying like they're one of the 2 almost same characters, and I think honestly, like I think right now is any time than ever to play a lot of low attacks because Flame Aura is running around. And if you play a whole deck that gets around Flame Aura and the evil symbol right now, so like Evil Desperation has really bad low blocks because they want to build. They don't want to hold them.
Yeah, they build them.
I want arrows who want to build. You don't want to block with that card. Last of Its Kind, you want to build that card. You don't want to block with it. Shadow Inheritance, you want to build that card. You don't want to block with it. So like I think right now more than ever, Aaron Black should be good. But I mean, right now nobody cares.
Yeah.
Devora had 0 success here in Omaha. Like nobody were having. But I know that like Atlanta had really good Devora decks running around. So we just didn't. It wasn't on our radar at all.
Mm-hmm.
But there were more Devora decks at this event than there were Aaron Blacks. So, like,
I mean, I think at the Virginia PTC there were like 3 or 4 Devoras.
Yeah,
like it was definitely like people coming out with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more just like, you know, for anyone out there who's just like, you know, a new set comes out, you're like, man, like I love this character, but everyone says they're bad.
Yeah,
I mean that was Asimov and Katarina, and James showed up and got second. So
Yep.
So like,
right. I mean, I don't think. I think it's.
Rob thinks Cassie Cage is the worst character in the set, and Cassie Cage won the whole thing.
Let's talk about that. You as a team, UFS University has had finals placement in the last 2 majors, American majors, I should say.
We have brought back-to-back cardboard now.
Yes.
UFSU has.
You had you won teams worlds. You got second at team singles in worlds. You won Nats. You got second in teams at Nats. Are you guys now cemented as one of the premier teams in UFS now? Because I know like we have a bunch of teams coming out of the woodwork. We always had Atlanta. We always had Michigan. You know, Rob has Maryland, Rochester. You know,
we don't have enough people to be a team.
I know that, but it's you, Scott, and Thomas. We know this. So and now Will. Now I think we're going to include Will now with you now. So
they have a real play group in Virginia.
Yes,
no lie, man. Yes, no lie. Right now, like huge shout out to him, man. Will Howard is actually one of my favorite people in this game right now.
Yeah,
he's an incredibly good player, and he's so modest about it.
Yes,
like he reminds me a lot of like Andrew Alexa, and it's cool because they both play Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're so nice and modest about everything. But man, will shit talk if you want him to shit talk. Like he's real good at it. Honestly, Legendary Wolf is really lucky to have him. He's an incredibly good player.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to him. Like,
I mean, I definitely like playing down there in some of their premier events when they had the store and like the PTC, and like I definitely was trying to like give him a little bit of pub. I just sort of referred to him as the Vega player from Virginia because if I could say like William Howard, and people are gonna be like who, but I mean I think that they should definitely like know who he is now after after this performance.
That's what I said to him when I met him. He's like, I know who you are. I've seen you on the internet. I'm like, well, I've never met you officially. I'm Chris, and you are no longer the Vega player for Virginia, but now, now no more deflecting. I want to know: do you guys consider yourselves one of the premier teams now? Because it's okay. You can gloat. It's fine. We will allow it. You can do that.
So I'm not. I don't own UFSU.
No, I know. I know that.
I believe I am a larger figure of UFSU. Yeah. I do have video projects that are my own projects. We do Cram Session is on me. It's on me by me, hosted by me. We have a brand new project that James and I are working on together. It will be hosted by me. James will be doing some writing for me. That's in the works, so I'm not going to say a lot about it. So as one of the bigger players of UFSU, I think we're definitely we know that we're becoming a bigger name, and so we're trying to treat ourselves that way. That's why we've got the jerseys, we got the mats made. Like we want to be just as known as a sponsored. Like a group that can sponsor players as much as Legendary Wolf can or Rochester can, and take that step above of just Omaha players. I think we are, and I think at this point, bringing back-to-back cardboard is where we start. Obviously, the higher ups, I guess for me. So James, Tyler, and Tam. Even after this weekend, we were on the ride home, and we're like, it's time to keep going up. Like. We used to be known as the community that could, the little community that could, because no one in Omaha had cardboard. Well, now that we've taken it twice, 2 majors in a row, Tam wants us to be bringing home cardboard at almost every event, which is a very, very big step to go. But I think at this point, because of the players that we have, because of the resources that we have, I think we can do it. And I mean, if people don't start considering our names of like diversity matchups, then they're going to have a bad time. And I think we like if JJ decided to play Liu Kang in singles, the same deck that he played for teams, he might have just smashed the whole tournament.
That deck was crazy.
He was undefeated with that Liu Kang deck throughout all of teams. He lost 1 game. He lost 2 games. He lost 2 games. One against a bad matchup for him, which was Jackie. And that might have been the reason why he did it, because there was a lot of Jackies. But like hindsight, it was just one of those things. But like we showed up, we had these decks ready. We have incredible deck builders in our community, and we don't step on each other's feet. So like if somebody's playing one character, we don't overlap. And if we can bring a caliber of decks to do that at every single major, over half of top 16 is gonna be us. Like that's our goal. Like we're gonna change. Like because you guys were talking about, or like I believe you specifically, because you really got into Tam's head about like, the world needs 4-3 players. Tam doesn't want UFSU to be 4-3 players. He wants all of us to be 5-2s. Not all of us can be 5-2s because there's too many of us. We have to play against each other. But if that's your only loss, then you make it. So like, that's our goal. That's where we're headed. We're headed to 5-2 and 6-1 players. We're almost all of top 16 is going to be us. And then people got to start learning to play the game a little bit differently. I'm not saying it's going to happen real quick, but I got people weren't ready. I guess they weren't ready for this event, and I had no intention of winning this whole thing. I said on UFSU Study Hall, I said the team and the deck that will win nationals will be the person that can play Fatality the best, because that card is incredibly strong right now. And I guess I proved it wrong, because Fatality blows. But like, I don't know, this game's about to change. There's a lot of people asking for a lot of movements to change, like tournament structures. MRPs are on their way, and we've got 5 sets by the time next nationals comes out.
Very true.
This game's going to move real quick, and the play groups that can move along with it are the ones that will succeed. And I think because they have me and we have Legendary Wolf card suppliers, we will always have these cards. and we will always be able to practice with them and have access to them. That's why we're so successful.
Sure.
We have a large card bank of cards that we get to use because I buy product, and then James and Tyler collect it. All of our teams were funded by all those cards.
Yeah.
So like, that's just a perk. Like I said, we're very gifted to have that, and I'm very blessed to be a part of that community. But if people aren't ready for us, I think we are going to be a big name. And if you play against a UFS, it's going to be, if you play against a UFSU jersey in Swiss, that might be a loss for you.
Yeah.
I think it.
I mean, I think it's, you sort of say that. I think like if you go back, I know on like I believe UFS like Wikipedia page or whatever, like they have a lot of the, especially like teams, the winners of this and that, and like there are definitely some like names that pop up a lot. You know, you see like Voltron Kitten Force, which I think was the Michigan guys, like Alexa, Jeremy, and I think they might have sort of had like an alternate like third. That
normally it was Matt. It was Matt McDaniel.
What were the Atlanta guys always
Lion
called?
Stance?
Lion Stance, yeah. And that was like Ben, Dave, and they often had like Drew. Now they have Phil.
Yep.
You know, they sort of go by different names, but that's still sort of like the Lion Stance crew. And you can definitely see like, you know, those teams like pop up repeatedly. UFS House was another one where were they? Were they Ohio, I believe?
They were Ohio, I believe so.
Yeah,
like the Ohio area.
So there definitely have been like some, you know, sort of like you said, like these like teams that have really had an impact over different periods of the game. And I mean, like you said, I guess that shows up more with teams than with singles. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely see some like, you know, UFSU teams like starting to dot like, you know, the late whatever, we're at 2000 teams or whatever. Whatever. So yeah, good luck.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure there'll be plenty of the old heads that are like,
these youngins, these millennials. Listen here, you millennial.
Right, for sure. Like, I mean, I've now been playing this game for a year, so I am no longer a rookie, I guess.
Yeah.
It will be on my card.
Yes.
But I will no longer be one, which just means I can only get more experience, which is really cool. And the game's going to keep changing, and I think that's going to be super cool to go with it.
Yep.
Jasco is definitely moving into a whole new phase of this game. Whether or not people like it or don't like it, it's going to happen, and whoever sticks along is going to be there to experience it and maybe win the whole time. So,
sure. All right. Well, let's close this out. I think we've taken plenty of time.
I think I went through my...
You went through did you go through your laundry list? Your napkin? Cool. Barrett, you want to shout out anything before we take off?
Shout outs to Jacob Johnson and Byron. I can't ever pronounce it. I'm so bad at it. They were my teammates for nationals this year. They did an incredibly good job. I felt real bad that I let them down, but we did a really good job. Byron, you were fantastic to be on our team. We did miss Mason, but hey, you did perfect. You did great. It was great to have you. Thank you so much, UFS University. They helped me out. They let me be on their content. They helped me out a ton. They got us jerseys, and I didn't have to pay for them. Like, it was super nice. Thank you, Jasco, for holding the event. The event was very nice. It's always a pleasure to see them. I got to meet Sean for the first time ever. He's one of the newest additions, obviously.
Canada?
Yeah, Sean Canada. He's a really cool guy. A little soft-spoken, but hey, man, he'll get there. I guess the other thing, too, if you, I do sell UFS product. I'm going to shout out myself, I guess.
That's fine, dude. No problem.
I sell cards on tcgplayer.com. You can buy pretty much any set that's in standard nowadays. Cards that are on there. I'm under Bryant Card Collection.
When I go to post this, I'm going to change it over and go Rockford CCG. You know,
perfect.
Yeah, just dub over it like really conspicuously.
Really conspicuously.
Yeah, so Bryant Card Collection.
Yep.
You're welcome to buy product from me. I love the business. I appreciate it so much. If you want a better deal, honestly, just contact me in person on Facebook or on Discord. I'm not trying to hide myself on Discord. My name's Barrett. On Facebook, you can just find me. If you're looking for a card and you see that I have it, or if you see that I don't have it, ask me. And I usually do 10% off almost everything because you're helping me avoid TCG player fees. So, Just selling out myself real quick.
Oh, man,
I got a bunch of products because I won a bunch of Mortal Kombat products. So I've got some new stuff.
I did the same thing when I got home. I threw it all up on TCG Player when I got home.
I was doing that almost all yesterday.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. I know you're saying that the only time we ever had you on was like a year ago, and it was about sideboarding. So
I was like, what a lame topic.
Yeah. Actually,
the whole time we're like, well, I guess it just kind of depends, you know. What a
hey, isn't it? But thanks and congratulations.
You sound like you were using your sideboard a lot.
I was a sideboard master at this event.
See, there you go. It paid off. That
there you go, episode. Kids. Figure out that sideboard. You too.
Yeah.
Be on card.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure you'll see me. We'll be talking about it too. We're going to be recording our study hall tomorrow. Tim wasn't feeling too good yesterday when we got back, so took a day off. But we'll be recording study hall. You can always see me there. That's over at UFS University on YouTube. So you can check them out there. Don't forget to subscribe to Rockford CCG, and then you can go and look at you can look at the similar channels. That would be UFS University.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, we're a subscriber of you guys too. So.
We are also a subscriber of you, and my own personal account. I subscribe to you as well.
I do the same thing. I gotta spread the love. I know Rob doesn't do any of that stuff because then it leaves like carbon footprints and stuff.
I'm only slightly salty that I didn't win any of the subscribing stuff or whatever when y'all were doing that.
Hey man, you won cardboard, dude. So be quiet.
Chris and I have been talking actually just today.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, well, what? I was like, we have to be coming up on almost a year at this point. Mm-hmm. I think it's like end December. So that's actually a good one, right? I mean, we started what you said, 30th of December. Yeah. So I guess we were just like, New Year's, let's just record a show.
I think it's what it was too.
Resolution? Let's be a content creator.
Yeah, right?
Let's do it.
So, I got to say, I don't know if I expected to still be playing at this point with the Bebop.
I mean, it was Bebop meta. You're right.
But, I was slightly salty. Chris is like, dude, we should do this show. You should come on with me. We could talk every week. And I'm just like, if you really want me, sure.
Eventually, you know what?
I will try to be constructive.
You can always go into retirement to become a UFS commentator.
There you go. Yeah.
And then come out of retirement when the meta looks a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
You can always do that.
But yeah, I think we'll probably try to cook up something for sort of like an anniversary. So maybe you can get some sweet goodies this time.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. Well, no, it's always a pleasure to be on here. Yep. I only gave you so much crap because y'all didn't invite me again.
That's fair.
I love being on here. I love watching and listening to your guys' show. It's a blast every single time. Yep. Riding down to Atlanta for the event, listening to y'all's pre-show was really cool. It's honestly just really cool to listen to the other content creators. Mm-hmm. I mean, the top tech heroes are also fun to listen to.
Yep.
They got a little bigger heads, I guess, sometimes, but whatever.
Well, they've been doing it for longer,
Yes, they have. Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for the congratulations. I really appreciate it. It's still a little surreal to me because I never thought I've never won anything competitively in a card game, and I've been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah,
so it's quite one to win, I guess.
Yeah. No, I know that. Just a quick one hitter. I know when we went out to Mexican afterwards, we went to the food place and we were all just hanging out, and I don't know. I think that was it was really neat doing stuff with the community that wasn't UFS. We really got to engage with one another and just chit chat and talk about everything. So
yeah, exactly.
I appreciate.
I think it's part of the thing because we only get these 2 weekends every year, right? Yeah. Where all of us are all together. Mm-hmm. And we want to sit there and we want to talk about UFS, but we're also just people.
Yeah.
So I love chatting with Dan Hughes, man. Now this year's national champion having just a regular chat with last year, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I had a great chat with him last year too. So it was just really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You too. I definitely saw some people oh man, I'm definitely pulling for Barrett. He's my favorite guy in UFSU. All that stuff. And I know Chris and I definitely had people coming up at nationals because there's definitely I gotta say I don't know about surprised, but when we had 30 teams, because I figured
I was surprised
down around 20. When we had 30 teams, I was like, dude, there's 90 people here for teams. I was like, there's definitely people who aren't here yet. and pretty much everybody who plays in teams is going to play in singles.
I mean, there's a lot of even like regular big names that don't go and play in teams because they're just here for singles and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean,
like they don't have the play group to play in teams. But
and like they said, I think we had 99, and I think they said that's the biggest nationals that we've had. That was definitely high. Like I figured we might be in like the 60s or 70s. So there's definitely a lot of new players out there that are like making the trips. And I know that, we definitely had people that are like, oh man, like, love the show. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I have no idea who this is. Like, that's great. Like,
it's like,
I'm real bad at it. I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, me too.
I hope we don't take, like, our advice too seriously. You know, like, otherwise, you know, you might be thinking things are bad or things are this or things are that. Yeah. But, you know, I guess it's nice. Like, when I was getting in, it was really Top Deck and this guy in Nashville.
Total Justice Heroes. Yeah, it was Joe Tonello.
Yeah, Joe Tonello, like the Total Justice. And, like, it was cool, like, you know, having them. But there's definitely a lot more sort of content out there now that, you know, if you really want to, like, dig into some decks, dig into some events, like, kind of get, like, a little bit of dish about, like, who thinks what's going on.
Yeah, it's really cool, too, because, like, you have the content creators that are, like, us, and I know you all do some, like, deck profiles and stuff like that, but, like, UFSU, we used to do it, but, like, we're not really big on the, like, deck profiles anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting away from that.
Yeah, but there are some channels that are exclusively doing that, and, like, there's a lot of people looking at them, and people actually care about them. And I have my own YouTube channel that I do, like, deck profiles for the other card games that I play. I don't do any UFS content just because I do that on UFSU. But it's just so interesting because, like, what I'm creating on these kind of channels versus what I did before, like, it's so drastic and so different. Like, we're not Yu-Gi-Oh content creators. We're not Yu-Gi tubers, you know.
Yeah.
Like we're like regular streamers and content creators that hold their weekly podcasts every week, and like so it's cool that we're at that level, and I think it's only because we're so close and everybody knows each other and everybody actually cares about everybody's opinions.
Yep.
So
all right. Well,
all right.
Now that we took a half an hour, like in normal UFS fashion, we took a half an hour to say goodbye.
Yeah, so absolutely.
That's just the way it goes. So,
well, I was gonna say, I'll tell you what. We'll have you next time we have you. We'll find an excuse to have you on that isn't you winning cardboard. How about that?
All right, perfect. I'll take that. That's good for me.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, Barrett. Congratulations again. We'll have you on again. Well, maybe we'll replace you with Rob. We'll have you replace Rob one show.
Can I host the show one time?
I think we can do that.
I'm taking Tam's job eventually. I'm going to be the host of UFSU.
Oh, man, dude.
I'm just going to take over everybody's content. Be like, this week on Top Deck Heroes. I'm going to take everything.
Awesome.
You got to do the right.
What's up, everybody?
All right. Well, everyone, you have a good night. And again, we're going to start moving. We're going to start going to a 2-show-a-week format going forward. So we're going to have Tuesdays and Thursdays going forward. I know that may, be a time crunch for Rob because he loves his sleep. So, but we will get that. We will get that settled. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, look out for new Guile treatments on Rockford CCG on YouTube and on. Thanks, dear. And on SoundCloud, look us up. I will try to keep that current. Normally, you can get the audio before the video. So for those who like their content early, look there. And again, Rockford UFS on TCG Player. Go buy Barrett stuff. Go buy my stuff. Make us rich. That'd be great. So we can come see you. And I think what's going forward is Collinsville PTC is coming up. Just a quick flash. I'll be there. Don't know if anyone else will be there, but I will be there. So maybe I win the event by default. I'll take a win.
Show up so Chris doesn't win.
Yeah, I'll take a win.
I believe James and JJ are going to be there.
Oh, cool. Sweet. That's awesome.
I believe Tam and I will be back at home, and we will be recording the cram session.
Oh, for
the Street Fighter versus Dark
Awesome.
Stalkers.
That's great.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So look forward to all that stuff, and we'll see you all on Thursday then. Take it easy. Have a good night.